Hello folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 106. Today's very special guest is Ben Krause of the band NECKBOLT. The day this is being released is September 22nd, and I'd like to wish NECKBOLT a happy release day of their follow-up album, their sophomore album, Dream Dump. What you're listening to is the first track, or the first single that was released off of that album, Fenghua or Lucky Star. At the end of the episode, I'll include a short clip of the second single that came out off that album called Marianne 05. Ben is a wonderful artist, a wonderful musician that is based out of Austin, Texas currently. I just have to say that this was a difficult conversation. I've been dealt many a difficult conversation these past few episodes, and a few more coming up that might also prove to be a little difficult. So, yeah, this is a great talk about a great band with a great artist. The album of choice tonight was Don Caballero's American Dawn. So for those of you who are not familiar with that album, I mean it's a math rock masterpiece according to most. Maybe a little bit emo-ish too. Definitely interesting music. Not only is it completely instrumental, but the titles of the songs on that album come out of essentially nowhere. So, as far as what I do here, for those of you who are, repeat guests of mine that kind of know what I talk about, know the format, very little to work off of here. So, but Ben was a great sport. We had a great time anyway, and a great conversation. Particularly close to the end is when the real hard-hitting questions came up, and I thought we actually did pretty well with it overall. So, as I was saying, NECKBOLT has a new album out today, Dream Dump. You can listen to it everywhere and anywhere you can find it. At the end of our conversation, unfortunately, I had kind of brought up to Ben that I noticed that they had these hand-painted limited edition covers that they were selling of their vinyl pre-order. And as he says in our interview, if anyone is interested in buying one of those, they should probably do that quickly because it looks like they will sell out. And unfortunately, this is being released on the release date, and those did sell out, in fact. But there are still other vinyl available, still colored variants that are available, as well as the black vinyl. So we encourage you to follow the links in the show notes to find those and buy them. By all means, please support them. It helps them out. And if you would like to know in ways in which you can support us here at Vinyl and Vision, you can visit psychicstatic.net. That is my website. So we have a online record store there, in addition to the releases that we have from the Hammer Party and other merchandise that's there, but be it the Hammer Party or Vinyl and Vision or Psychic Static merch, they're there. So by all means, please, if you care to help us out in a financial way, that's the way to do it. Otherwise, please do all the things you do with the internet. Like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review. Those are also actually incredibly helpful and cost you nothing. So we encourage you to please do that as well. Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy. Hello, Ben Krause. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. It's very warm in Austin, Texas, so we're at the tail end of the summer, and we're trying to hang in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was down there, what month is it? August? I was down there in like October last year.
Okay.
And yeah,
Was it still warm?
it was still pretty warm. Yeah, very nice. Unseasonably up here, up northeast as well, so I didn't really know what to expect necessarily, but it turned out to be very, very nice at that time.
Are you in Rhode Island?
I am.
Okay. This is the extent of my knowledge. So
Okay, that's cool. Have you ever been up here?
I have never been to Rhode Island.
But how about the Northeast in general, New England?
Yeah. Yep.
On tour with the band or just traveling?
Actually, mostly in college years to visit college friends, because everyone fled to New England to go to school.
Yeah, popular destination for the Texas people that are trying to get out.
I am actually a Colorado person.
Oh yeah,
and in Texas for because we wanted to get out of Colorado for wife's work practically, but Austin is a great music city, so
Right.
it's been nice, but
Yeah.
Colorado is the home for sure.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been in Texas?
I've been in Texas for 4.5 years. So it was about a year before COVID. We came
Oh,
and said, "This is great. We love it here." And then we're locked inside, which is fine too. No complaints. But so we're kind of actually part of us is just starting to explore now.
right. Oh, okay. Right. Oh, yeah, because it was so closed, and so therefore you kind of really couldn't do much going out, experimenting, exploring.
Yes. I would argue maybe not closed enough in Texas, but closed nonetheless. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And so you moved there, you said because of your wife specifically?
Yeah, because she got a publishing job here. That was something that we couldn't do or she couldn't do in Colorado. So it's a lot more creative, professional fields in Austin versus Colorado.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have much say in that. You were just like, well, yeah, Austin's cool. Let's go.
Oh no, I actually worked remotely for a company that's headquartered in Austin. So the move for me was comically easy. They said, "Okay, yeah, you can start coming in instead of not coming in."
Right.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool. That worked out pretty well.
yeah, yeah. It was
So,
a very, very easy transition.
yeah, it sounds like it. That's it's very serendipitous that it worked out that way.
Yeah, yep.
Cool. And how do you like it overall?
I think that there are times I forget that it's in Texas, and those times are good.
Yeah.
But we're in Texas, so it's a political hellscape, but there's plenty to do, and the music community is large, which
Right.
is good.
Yeah.
So
And awesome at that.
yeah, I mean, it really is like an awesome music community. No matter what you're doing, if you're playing freak music like we play, or if you're playing, country standards, it's pretty wide spanning.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So let me ask you a little bit about your youth. Okay. So did
Okay.
you born and raised in Colorado?
Born in the Twin Cities, but
Okay.
moved super young. So that's where Christmas and summers were spent. We're in the Twin Cities, and I have a lot of like dad grew up seeing the Replacements and Husker Du, and so I have a lot of that kind of. It is still home in that kind of way, but I moved when I was like 4 years old to Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Colorado's definitely raised in Colorado. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so what you just mentioned your dad going out to see replacements and stuff. So what was music like in the house?
Pretty cool. He kind of like kept it. I think he partied hard, like the Replacements sang about, in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
And like growing up, he still had I still idolize this to the day. I'm trying to recreate it, but his like high school JVC, aluminum silver face, preamps and turntable, and it was all like this matching kit that he saved up for. He still has that in his house now. So growing up, that was like the thing to do on Friday night was blast music in the basement. Colorado has basements, so in the basement we would huge JVC speakers. He still has, and would go down and listen to a bunch of stuff that maybe now I'm like, I don't really care about Van Hagar or late Aerosmith, or like, there's some stuff in there that I'm not like,
Yeah.
didn't really stick,
Sure.
but still
But
formative.
as a kid, it was kind of like, exciting, and it was rock music.
Sure.
I mean, it was,
Right.
And this is your introduction to rock music, I guess.
Yeah. I don't remember the introduction. It's kind of always been there. Yeah.
Right. So your dad's always been a rock and roller, and so you've just been tagging along.
Yeah. Engineer by trade, totally closeted rock and roller, but rock and roller nonetheless. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, music fan, and then
For
obviously
sure.
is soaking that stuff up, and obviously exposing you to it, which is cool.
Yeah.
So what about your mom? What did she do, or what did she like?
Well, it was a classic divorced family,
Okay.
and she was the crappy one. And so
Hmm.
there wasn't we didn't hang out that much with her. She was
Okay.
like the role reversal, a typical absentee dad. We had absentee mom.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to
Who
hear.
Oh no, it's fine. Don't I've got a therapist. We're good. We're all good. It's good. Like we're working through it. But
I hear you.
musically, she loved Meatloaf. That's what I can tell you.
Wow. Well, that's a big
Yeah.
seller. Meatloaf was a
Yeah.
huge thing, man. I forget how huge Meatloaf was.
Yeah, Bat Out of Hell's like number 8 all time. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Todd
still actually
Rundgren
love Meatloaf.
produced. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I forget that Todd Rundgren was involved in that.
Yeah, I
In
know.
hindsight, it's just as weird as it was the first time you heard it, but interesting. Yeah.
It's very strange. It's when you dip into the history of some music, it's kind of strange, like when you start to learn like kind of how it came to be or where it came from exactly. Um, Kind of like what I'm doing now with your history, trying to figure out, how this neck bolt thing came to be.
Yes, this cryptic history. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're a relatively new band. I mean, you guys started in like 2021.
Yeah, I guess 2020 really during
Okay.
COVID. I guess when I moved here, a couple things happened. I've been really band reliant my entire life, like get together once a week and practice and write together and that kind of thing. And it's really draining. And I kind of think it's not productive, especially if you have a couple people who like to drink, which you almost always do in a band. It just turns into this kind of we drink once a week, etc. So when we moved here, I said I would like to figure this shit out myself. So I would like to be self-reliant in writing music. I don't want to rely on, three alcoholics or three dysfunctional people like I have
Right.
in the past. So that was one side. And then I was very lucky and ran into someone right when I moved, like the week we moved here, that I had played a show with on tour. And we kind of hit it off and got into a practice room. And this is all in the first like 6 months we lived here with some of the people that are now in NECKBOLT that were in a band called Exhalants, and met them and kind of created this little network before the lockdown. And then, the COVID happened and I have a recording set up at home and I started tracking stuff and sending it out. I think this is a pretty common story. It's not like groundbreaking in any way, and kind of sending it to the few peers that I had. And they kind of said like, you should, this is cool enough. And like, blah, blah, blah. So I finished the first record like that by myself, going to the practice spot to record loud stuff and then coming home to record quiet stuff, and approached James, who was one of these people in this small practice room, and said, would you be willing to sing on this? I don't know if there's even room for, and James is just really open. He's just a really creatively open person. He doesn't need structure, or that the typical structure. And he said, yeah, heck yeah, I would love to. And we sat in the closet that's 1 foot away from me and recorded vocals, shoved them in a little closet surrounded by clothes, and recorded the vocals for the first record. And then kind of said, well, shit, we should probably figure out how to play this live. And then called everyone that I still knew. That's why half of this band's in Oklahoma and half of it's in Austin.
Oh man.
So yeah, so to perform live, we had to kind of draft the rest of what now is the band.
Right. So you have a core group of people, but with them being out of state, it must be difficult to practice and obviously schedule shows.
Yeah. Yes, but to go back to the kind of like, I think we are more productive not practicing, if that makes sense. Not getting in this weekly routine. There's some sort of kind of, it would be interesting to show someone, but we have a Google doc, or a Google, a whole Google Drive for our band communication. It's like a business. There are goals, and you're going to record this by then, and we need a part to fill in here, and it's a spreadsheet. And so it's very organized because of the distance, because we have to be,
Right. You like that? You like that kind of like that kind of organization and kind of mathematical formula?
I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I know that there's a couple people in this band that are like, hey, I want to be loud and like feel the music instead of just theoretically work on, musical files.
Right. I mean, there's benefits, there's pros and cons to both aspects, right? Of like kind of getting together in a room and just kind of feeling things out, and actually giving deadlines and kind of doing the file sharing thing and just being like, just write something to this, come up with your part to this part of the song and so forth. But and I appreciate both, really. I actually just came here from practice. My ears are still ringing.
Really? Okay. I love a morning practice. So that was what, 9 a.m. you guys got together?
Actually, perfectly. Yeah. 9 o'clock.
I love it. That's now if people are willing to get together at 9, maybe we should start a band. That sounds lovely. 9 a.m. practice is good. I don't like the 9 p.m. practice. Yeah.
It was circumstantial, I mean, we had to be here for noon. I was just like, and they were like, we got to like, when are we practicing? I was like, I was like, I can't on Sunday. I'm busy at noon, and then I have a family thing later. And they were like, well, how about like 10 o'clock? I was just like, that's too close. I can't do it. And they're like, we can do 9. I'm like, really? You want to do 9 in the morning? Okay. It's like,
and everyone was there on time, ready to go.
Yeah, it was actually better than our evening practices. Our bass player has been notoriously late, like half an hour to almost an hour, due to traffic and stuff like that. So yeah, worked out.
And what can I ask? What is this project?
We only just came up with a name, and we haven't done anything yet. We haven't done any recording. We haven't done any show. Well, actually, we did one open mic night just to kind of get a feel.
Okay.
We have like 7 songs that are solid, and working on a few more. I'm happy playing these songs. I'm doing something totally different.
What instrument are you playing?
Drums.
And I hear this is new to you.
It is new. Yeah.
Okay.
So cool. I've never played drums with a band before.
And are you enjoying it, or is it frustrating?
I love it. I love it because it's challenging. It's an instrument I've always really admired and appreciated. I've always been kind of tantalized by it. You know how like when you're in a band, when you're a kid, like I've been playing since I was 15. So ever since I was in a band, there's always drums around, but they were never mine. But you know, you show up to practice and like you're like taking a break. You're like, I'm just gonna sit here and bang away for a little bit. You know, you develop a feel for it, though. Like you're not great.
Yes.
So
I know this well. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working off that and just trying to feel it out. And so I like it. I really like it a lot. I'm not great. I won't admit to being good at all.
Yeah, but I mean, it is the by far the funnest instrument I think to play.
Yeah, and you write the majority of NECKBOLT's music, right?
Yeah.
So you are doing that yourself. You kind of like multi-track and do all of the instruments, including the drums.
I did for the first record, and then this new record that we're actively promoting, Dream Dump, is actually like total collaboration. We had some kind of programmed or like phone call, like boom 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 boom. We want like within a band there's like this vernacular that everyone has. Like we want a Motown beat, which is just like da 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 da, snare on one, and then the drummer Brian, who we've been friends for 15 years, says like, oh, I got it, and sends something back the next day that is exactly that.
That's so great.
Now it's a lot more collaborative, but the first one was me absolutely fumbling through drums, and if you saw the audio files, you'd say, yeah, you're not a drummer, but you're pretty good at cutting and pasting and scooting and covering up.
You do what you have to do. The technology is a great thing for that reason. I hate recording alone. I hate it, probably for that reason. Just like I know I'm not good at this and I'm trying to do it, and then I'm just like, it's very unsatisfying, I feel.
Oh, I see. I like recording alone because I think I get nervous if anyone's around.
No, that I like, but just like kind of listening back and you're just like, I didn't do that right because that's not my thing. I don't know how to do that well, especially for drums.
Yeah.
I was just like, a lot of those first times I was trying to record, I was, I'm still learning, so I was just like, I fell off time. I didn't do a fill good, like whatever it was just very unsatisfying that I was just like, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do that. And I don't like programmed drums.
You're right.
Like, I have a drum machine and I hate the thing.
Really? Oh, okay. I totally understand that. I think there are classy or tasteful ways to use drum machines, and then the rest are miserable.
Yeah. I have a thing for organic sound. I'm all about recording organic, natural instruments. I don't like electronic instruments for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I would use them. Like, I mean, especially now, realizing that, there's a certain kind of capacity that you can use those for, and like it can be good for a certain thing. But I've just always kind of been this purist about like organic instruments for no particular reason. It's just yeah.
I totally. I mean, we have to lean on non-organic instruments more just to kind of. I don't know. There's a lot of samples and stuff throughout this project just because because I think it's fun. But for the majority of my life, I very much was very organic, not even we can't even use a click it's going to sound robotic if we use a click track. And it's like, oh,
Right.
or it's going to sound like your drummer is not a good drummer. So it's a, yeah. In reality, I guess it's a little different. So
Sure. So let's see. I had asked you here today to speak about an album that was important to you.
yes,
So now you chose Don Caballero's American Don.
yes, I did.
You ruined me.
Why?
This was such a hard album to do. I mean, like, considering for my format, right?
Yeah,
I was already working at a disadvantage because you gave me an album that has no lyrics.
right.
Now, and then furthermore, doing some research about Don Caballero and this album specifically, very little about it. I mean, like, there's
Yeah.
very little information about it, like, as far as, how these songs were, well, I mean, how the songs were written, or how, like, where their names come from, because the names are completely arbitrary to the music.
Gobbledygook. Yeah,
Right.
I think they're just made up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the history is just so, it seems a little chaotic, especially for this time period in the band's life. And it seems like their drummer, Damon Che, is like essentially the sole voice of Don Caballero.
Whether anyone else likes that or not, I think that that's pretty accurate, and I think that's probably why there's been so many revolving casts.
Oh yeah. I mean, essentially they don't really exist anymore. I mean, like, there's a possibility there, but there's no original members except for Damon.
Yeah, who's drumming in his mom's basement now, I think. I mean, really, he has like a channel that is drumming in his, I think, his mom's basement. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. The YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It seems strange, but hey, I mean,
yeah, and it's weird. He's still kind of, even like in his mom's basement today, still kind of like apathetic, and like it still hasn't hit him that, like, did you drive everyone away? Could it have been something if you weren't the person? But that's who he is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Have you heard this record before? It was in an email. Okay.
I have not. I have heard some Don Cab in the past. An old housemate of mine and good friend, Brent Frattini, who used to play in Daughters.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
Kind of introduced me to Don Cab, and a lot of his playing was very similar to Don Cab stuff. And it's very singular. Like, I think it's very notable. Like, when you hear Don Cab, you kind of know that's Don Cab.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so tell me about your experience with them. When did you first hear them, and when did you first hear this record?
Okay, I can do that easily. I will back up really quick though and say I probably would have chose a Weezer record if you didn't just do one with our friend from Tunic. So it would have been too close, because it's kind of, I feel like in my life there was a before and an after. And there was a before the Blue Album and where it's like, oh, I don't give a shit about Aerosmith anymore. We're done. Like, I'm Weezer now. And then I think American Dawn was kind of that phase 2. So to answer your question,
okay,
freshman year of high school, burn CD, smoking pot at a party, classic. Put the CD in the DVD player of probably a tube TV. A friend did. I had no idea I had never heard anything really like this. Maybe a little American football, but nothing as I don't know, driving or chaotic or thunderous or gentle or goofy. It's so many things all at once.
Right. And so what year was this?
This was, I am 34 and I would have been 15. So let's do some math here. 19 years. So 2004.
All right. So 2004.
Somewhere in there, 2004. Came out in 01, I think.
This album, American Dawn?
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah. 2000. Okay.
So you're hearing this after the band has pretty much dissolved already.
Right.
And you're listening to this album, or was it a different record by them?
Definitely this album. Yeah.
It was this one. Okay.
Yeah. And
so this was your introduction to Don Cab.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. So now, because of what you said about the Weezer thing, you being 34, when did you hear that Weezer, and why would you have chosen that?
Weezer was 6th grade. And that was like much like actually our friend from Tunic's story. It was like CD player or CD store with mom and dad or stepmom and dad,
Yeah.
And this is the one I picked out because I had heard mine was actually the first album I got was Green Album. Which I know is like an infamous record, but I will stand by that record to this day. I love that record.
It suits the time because of your age. That would make sense that that's the one you would buy, because that's probably the one that was being promoted at the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So I think Hash Pipe was the single that, which is like hilarious as a sixth grade kid. Being like, I love this song, and your parents being like, okay, me too.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, that was a more traditional kind of go and buy it and open the CD and have your Discman and like bond with that record by yourself,
Right.
with songs, with words, and you don't really know what the songs are about. You don't really care about the words, but it's just like cool. The whole thing's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and you're coming from like a fairly rock and roll knowledgeable background. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
listening to the Replacements with your dad and Aerosmith, then this is that's a pretty easy transition.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, ripping guitar solos, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but so now I'm imagining you said sixth grade, so that means by the time you're 15, that's like 3-4 years away.
Yeah, yeah, 4 years away. Yeah.
That you now you hear Don Cab, and now this is like something totally different.
Yes. And I think in that 4 years, I also started playing guitar because that's got the Weezer bug of like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And
so you learn bar chords, stuff like that.
Exactly. Spent those 4 years learning other people's stuff. And then I think the Don Cab thing is like, that's maybe the first record I heard where it's like, I'm never going to learn how to play this. I don't actually give a shit about learning how to play this, but this gives me confidence that I can play this.
Yeah.
It's so out. They're not like Weezer is delivered. It's hand packaged and it's kind of delivered, and here's the song. And I guess until finding weird music, and I don't want to say math rock because it's not really, I never really got into like the twinkly math rock stuff that so many people did with Don Cab. Just more of like the kind of fragmented single note stuff. I think it was the first time I heard guitar music that I was like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I mean, if you don't want to consider it math rock, which I mean, doing research about this band and this album, I mean, that's essentially that's what they are.
Right.
Like a math rock band. But I mean, I lean like I kind of like put it in the same category as emo as well.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that maybe that's the closer connection to Weezer, is that like, oh, it's just like this like really kind of introverted, like emotional type of music that resonates, but isn't just straight chords, straight power chords, and has like that kind of like a light airiness to it.
Yeah.
But then the drums are just so massive and such a like powerful presence that it kind of it's not that flowery emo stuff.
Right. And that's why like I have and not a hard time, but like I think if you say the word math rock, people go straight to just a lot more kind of gentle, more, I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but less thunderous and abrasive. This is like, I mean, it's major. It's mostly major music, right? It's mostly major chords, or when there are chords. It's not dark, but it's certainly abrasive.
Yeah. Angular, maybe? Is that what
angular is a really good word? Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
and that I mean, that plays into the whole noise rock thing too, because I think that's specific. That word specifically is a very common adjective that people use when they're describing bands that are categorized as noise rock.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, angular is a huge word. Yeah. And I've never really thought about Don Caballero being angular, because I think of angular as more like shellacky kind of chords, just chordy angular. But I like this. I like Don Cab being angular too. That makes total sense.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's the best I can come up with. It is very difficult to categorize them and to describe them, aside from like those like very blanket, genre labels. So
yeah, right.
So, very difficult record, man.
Have you done an instrumental record on this podcast?
I don't think so.
Have you?
No, I don't think so.
Have you talked to anyone that's not the singer of their band? I guess Mike Watt isn't the singer of all of his bands.
Yeah, not really. But no, actually, I speak to a lot of band members.
Yeah.
I can't think of necessarily one right this moment, but
yeah, right. But yeah. Sorry, I'm not a quiz. Obviously, I'm just
No, it happens all the time. But it's also it depends, because I mean, you are clearly like a major figure in your band NECKBOLT.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're not the lead singer per
Sure.
se.
Yes.
But you know, and then no matter what, I mean, this is all just about kind of talking about music anyway, and kind of finding influences and inspiration and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it can be anybody, and trust me, I'm reaching out to drummers every now and then too, just because I love them.
Right. Yeah. Right. What the hell makes? Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah. So now because of the album that you chose and kind of the weirdness of it, the lack of information that I could find, you know, research wise, and the lack of kind of things to analyze about it, aside from the music itself,
Yeah.
this may be just throwing shit at a fan and seeing what sticks. Just
Oh, perfect.
just try to have fun
Chef's
with
kiss.
this, not
Yes.
necessarily dig too deep. So
Okay.
we'll see what happens with it. Where can I start with this? Let me see. I have a quote here from Justin Vellucci from musictap.com, I believe it was. It was a online publication. Around 1998, Williams consulted Tortoise drummer John McIntyre about building guitar loops. McIntyre recommended the Akai Headrush. The pedals and Williams instantly clicked, and they constructed texture in what Williams only half-jokingly called zero time signature. Quote, by 99, I was really good at it, laughed Williams, sounding almost surprised. Quote, I could play all of our songs by just stacking the loops. American Dawn became the sole document of that experimentation. So, so this album, from what I'm realizing, and kind of based a little bit on this quote, it seems to be a divisive one for fans.
Yes.
Have you been a fan of other Don Cab records or just this one?
Almost all of their stuff I'm a pretty big fan of for different reasons.
Okay, so
But
you like the band overall now.
right. And also I will say too, I really love Ian Williams' Battles project too,
Oh, okay.
which is I mean kind of a similar kind of conversation.
Sure.
Battles, similar project, if you've heard that project.
I have listened to a good portion of it. I don't know if I
Okay.
could say that I could speak to it well, but I
Yeah.
definitely know it. And it definitely is reminiscent of this, obviously because of his guitar work. I mean, it's just his style is singular.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And
And
I guess so was that a turn on, like when you were hearing this as a 15-year-old and budding guitar player, that's like you kind of wanted to maybe sound like that?
I think so. And I think too, probably for a lot of people that didn't get really good at guitar. I know that there's people that went on and got classically trained that when you hear something like this and you're not, and I'm like I'm fine. I'm a fine guitar player, musician, whatever. I'm not trying to totally shit on myself, but I knew I wasn't going to be Rivers Cuomo. So at a certain point you go, oh, I think I can do this. Even that is accessible. The fact that it's just noodly and kind of avant-garde and out there. So the looping is still a challenge. It's
Sure.
just like I think people, well, you also need a drummer like Damon Shea to be able to do it. But that that aspect of Williams' guitar work is something that I just like is sacred to me, and I think is untouchable, and I love it. But the actual physical guitar playing, I think, is on this record specifically because it's so loose, which I think is what's kind of divisive about this record. Is it's not you're not getting 11 songs, you're getting kind of this one data dump of like, yeah, we found a cool pedal and here's what we did with it, and I love that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's weird too. Like, I'm not too familiar with their previous experience with their previous recordings, but this one specifically is very different according to Damon Che. Excuse
Like
me.
the processes or the sound is
Both, I think.
okay.
Because from what I remember him saying on one of his videos on his channel, that this is like the first album that because of those pedals that they were using, they, you know, obviously Ian Williams was layering a lot of guitar parts on top of one another, and you know, so that's what they would do live. But because of that, like it was his kind of idea to break it up recording. So this album, kind of like what you were saying about, you know, the way that Neckbolt is working currently, is that they were working on individual parts for these songs in the studio, as well as tracking each loop separately, as opposed to just kind of playing it live with the loop pedal.
Yeah. Which I think you would have. It's funny because I was walking my dog listening to this record over the last week, and had that exact kind of thought of like, did they fucking do this live? Like, because there's two options. You either do exactly what you just said, or you nail it every time.
Right.
And
right.
you kind of have to do that with the drummer. There's no way you can track just drums and then do that. So that's fine. You answered a question that I thought there was no answer to. So
yeah, well, I mean that's all Damon Che. I mean, he is the spokesperson for Don Cab, and he is kind of doing these, or at least he did these small clips of kind of like describing each album on his YouTube channel. So that's what I heard. It's not too in depth as far as this, like, well, how did that go? But he did say that they basically like did parts of the songs, like they were very methodical about how they tracked this record. So it's
with Steve Albini, right? This record was which I mean, that seems like that work ethic fits right up his alley.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty painstaking, because I mean, like, if you're, especially like this music is like, I can only imagine that with all the weird time signature changes and all that stuff, like in between, like in the songs, like there's very distinct parts in these songs, but at the same time, trying to get those to sync up. Like if you're recording them separately, like if you are saying essentially like, let's take the intro to Fire Back, and now let's just get that down. Now let's move on to the next part. And like, how are you going to make that like bleed, like without having it sound like messed up,
And also, how are you going to do that on 2-inch tape?
Right.
There's no giant computer screen where you're I mean, I'm certain this was recorded reel to reel. I'm right. This is analog.
That information was not explained, but I can imagine, being 1999-ish, the technology was probably not there.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. No wonder they all hated each other. It makes total sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I learned, I mean, Damon Che is not the sweetest guy in the world.
Yeah. And that, it is kind of funny. Like, and I apologize now for picking this record, but
no, it's okay.
it's a fun challenge, but
it was a challenge. Yeah. But it is fun.
It is interesting to to pick a record and love a band where everything that everyone can ever tell you about them is you don't want to be in a room with them.
Yeah.
It's not very inspirational. It's very kind of like analytically interesting to be like, wow, and you still convince people to put out records and see your band, and because you're just like that talented, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, the music industry, I don't know if you can corroborate the story with me, but the music industry seems to be full of assholes,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to not be one, but yeah.
No, of course. I mean, and like, I think that my experience, like the people that I personally know that I like, I don't consider them to be assholes. I think that the majority of the people that I know and that I get introduced to, even doing the show, everyone's been just complete sweethearts and just lovely people. But there are definitely assholes in the industry.
Yes, there are
big egos. I mean, that's the problem. Big egos, right?
Yeah, which is, it's kind of interesting too, because I think that a thing that I really like, and I think a thing that everyone really likes, is like authenticity. Like when you can hear like, oh my God, when you see Damon Che's personality and you listen to his drumming, it all seems authentic to me. You would have to be an asshole to make all that work. Personally, that's like how I see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
mean, maybe like, those things are just so intertwined now that I can't get it away. Yeah.
He's just such an amazing, fascinating drummer that you can't help but to just appreciate what he does, regardless of whether or not he's like someone you can stand.
Right. Yeah. It's a different level of separating the art from the artist that I feel a little more safe in doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a monster. He's just kind of an asshole.
Right. I hope that's on his tombstone.
Maybe it might end up there. We don't know.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else can I mention to you here about this record? Okay, sorry, I have to just kind of read through some of this because I'm like, does this have a question or not? I might just have some facts for you. All right,
I'm
so
ready for facts. I'm ready for facts.
well, there's not too many of them.
I'm
So
ready for the 3 facts. Yeah.
so I mean, normally what I do in my format is like we're gonna go ahead and get into the album, but considering the fact that there is very little to work off of this record, especially in regards to lyrical messaging, let's just agree to have fun with that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all for it. Yeah.
All
And
right.
to be completely honest, I've listened to a few of these episodes and it's like, oh, there's a lot of like that's the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just do not, and I know there's some people like this, do not listen to lyrics.
Yeah,
Love a lot of bands that have lyrics,
of course.
and I just do not listen to them. Like, yeah, even the Weezer thing. I mean, Constantine's. I love that Canadian band. Have you heard that band?
I don't think so.
No, it's there. I don't know, some weird sub pop kind of Springsteen thing. Love
Okay.
them, and I was thinking of that as a record and read some lyrics, and I was like, wow, I've listened to this 10,000 times, and I had no idea that any of this stuff was said. So,
Yeah.
uh, there's some maybe strategy in choosing an instrumental band that I apologize for now.
No, no, no. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
It's totally
okay,
fine. I
yeah,
mean, it's interesting to get into this record and to get into this band. I mean, I can't say that I've ever been a fan, but I did know them. Um, Considering my appreciation for drums, I kind of
yeah,
needed to listen to this anyway, and so I can thank you
right,
for that.
yeah,
But as far as just like, going down this record track by track, kind of very little to work off of aside from the titles of these songs.
right. I totally agree with that. And also I will say when I had this record growing up, I ended up acquiring that burnt CD that we put in the DVD player and listened to on a tube. I like begged my friend who was like super. This guy was like a gateway drug. He showed me a lot of good music.
Mhm.
Joey Hidalgo, but I had to beg him for the CD. So the first 10 years I spent with this record was a burnt CDR,
Oh,
120
okay.
minutes that just said American Dawn. And
Oh,
I think it I'm not kidding, it probably took me a year to figure out that the band name was Don Caballero. Just because I mean the internet kind of, but like it's kind of hard to track this. There's a mythos around this record and this band and stuff, but
sure.
they're kind of hard to actually find any information about. And as a kid who didn't have a computer and the internet was just a different thing then, it was
Yeah.
kind of lived out there. I
Yeah, it
wasn't
wasn't
involved in the
as
Chicago music scene. I don't know, or Pennsylvania, wherever they were playing mostly. But yeah,
yeah. I guess at this time they were kind of considered a Chicago band, but
I
originally
think
from
so.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very strange. So if we're gonna go through track by track, I just immediately already have to skip the first three.
okay,
Fire Back About Your New Baby's Sex.
yeah, right.
Super strange title. Don't even want to touch it because I'm just like, what does this mean?
Yeah, I will say I'm looking at the track listing now. What a painful track listing. Again, I had a burned CD, so I didn't even know any of these tracks until probably I was
Yeah.
25 years old.
And I bet you didn't necessarily know, aside from like looking at the display of the CD player, like when these tracks kind of began and
Right.
ended.
Which I would say is a testament to the record. That is
Yeah.
a super. I mean, to this day, I think everything I do musically is influenced by exactly that.
Hmm.
Like I'm kind of like, okay, 10 songs. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Like that's cool, but I don't know. I like this kind of amorphous. You move through it, and then eventually, oh, the record's over,
Yeah.
and that's it. And I think that was maybe more prominent with vinyl because that was more the experience. I
Sure.
mean, you get 2 songs because you do have to flip it, or 4, or whatever if it's a double LP, but
Right.
there's a little more
Right.
continuity, or you're able to have more continuity on each side of a record
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just track, 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 track. So I love that about this record, but it does make this structure difficult.
It sure does. The next song was the Peter Chris Jazz. It was like, okay, this is just funny. I mean, these guys do have a sense of humor, which
Yeah,
is kind of nice. I guess the name Don Caballero actually came from a character from SCTV.
yeah, that's right. The Dawn. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think actually I can't speak to it because I'm not totally familiar, and it didn't really kind of come up in my research. But even some of the song names, maybe not necessarily from this album, but in the past have kind of been referenced from something like that, like SCTV.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I that makes total sense. I mean, these guys were, they have to be in their mid 50s now, I would imagine, right? Or early
so.
50s maybe. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would make sense. That's when SCTV was going on.
Yeah, and they didn't have much to choose from as adolescents, because
Yeah,
you had like 3 channels or something.
yeah, exactly. I will say stupid names, but I am to this day obsessed with how the record starts with just hi-hats, abrasive, big sounding, gross hi-hats, and that's it.
Right. And you know what's funny? So I'm watching a lot of the videos from the Don Cab YouTube page, right? And so he has made videos of him reproducing the drums to Don Cab tracks.
Yeah.
In his mom's nasty basement.
Yeah. The wood paneling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so gross looking. There's like a water spot like right above him.
Yes, it's a difficult watch for so many reasons, but yeah, I have watched some of it.
Yeah, but just to appreciate his drumming and to kind of see him doing it is pretty miraculous. And but I noticed that he plays Sabian B8 Pro hi-hats.
Interesting.
Isn't that like gross?
Yeah, that is really gross.
I mean,
yeah.
So I see it as this is a testament to the idea, because I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but like, as musicians, you always kind of like aspire to have good gear. You're like, God, I wish I could afford that awesome guitar, that awesome, drum set that costs thousands of dollars. And then B8 Pros are the lowest grade, like cheapest Sabian you can get.
Yeah.
And that's what he plays and has played right along.
He has played that crappy. I noticed. It's funny that we both noticed that, and I was like, really? Like, do you need a GoFundMe to go to the pawn shop and buy anything that is not B8s? But yeah,
right. No, and I know that he's talked about his ride and how the B8 ride is like kind of like one of the most distinct bells, which is true. It's a piercing and it cuts.
Yeah,
but the B8 Pro hi-hats, I was just like, okay, so this is a testament to the idea that it's the musician, not the instrument, that kind of generates the sound.
Yeah. It goes back to that authenticity too. That oozes Damon Shea. Just like, no, it almost feels like a fuck you. You know that he could have nicer hi-hats, but no, I'm not going to. I'm going to play my snare at my knees, between my knees, because that's how I don't know. The whole thing just seems like a big fuck you. Anti-drum establishment, down with the drum man who says you need your snare at a reasonable height.
Right. Yeah. And at a weird angle too. It's just kind of like, it's like facing, it's practically facing him.
Yeah. He plays like a very visual representation here that will not translate to a podcast, but that's how he plays.
The octopus, isn't that what they call them?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Haven't Lived Afropop. That's the 3rd song.
My favorite song on the record is that one.
Oh yeah? That's
for sure.
That's Damon Shea's favorite.
Oh, is it? Ah. Yeah, real knows real.
Based on the video that I watched, I mean, he was asked like if he has any favorite moments of the album, and then that's the one he chose.
Really? I love that. I don't know why. Does he say why?
He doesn't really go into a very good explanation. He's so difficult. Even in the way he talks, like, I don't know what to believe with that guy, really. Like, of the interviews I've heard of him, I'm just like, what are you getting at?
He's got something to prove, I think, to no one. I don't know, to the 18 people that are still listening.
Yeah, and he'll even say that it's not that. Like he's very, very conscious of that. Like his I guess the facade or whatever the perception he has to display for his fans. Yeah. Trying not to seem arrogant. Yeah, trying not to seem like a huge just pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just what he is, I guess. But that song though, I love because it kind of, and actually I love this a lot about this record and Don Caballero, even after Ian Williams leaves, which is kind of crazy that it's just Damon Shea, because it sounds so similar even after he leaves. How do you find another guitarist who can even emulate that at all? I mean, I didn't know that they had a lineup change until I had the real internet, and I'd listened to all the records a million times and never. Oh, they're playing a little differently, but not a whole different lineup. Anyway, that song kind of dissolves into this it's weird and kind of all over the place and unstructured, and then it like dissolves into this kind of almost like Motown Jackson 5, like insanely poppy part with the hi-hat still going kind of on the upbeat. And it just, I've always been fascinated with how this band in particular can be so almost avant-garde and out there, and then kind of seamlessly come into something that's 4/4 and sounds like it should be on a 7-inch, 45 in 1956 at a parlor. I really appreciate that about them and about this song in particular.
Yeah, yeah. So they have a ability to kind of like they have a pop sensibility, even though they seem so detached from that.
Yeah, right. And they kind of I think they kind of trick you into it. And maybe it's that smugness, kind of like, yeah, we're gonna play this 4/4 bass line over this noodly thing, and you're gonna think we're still Don Cab, but this is really just a, whatever progression that is. I don't know musically enough, but
sure, yeah,
it's almost goofy. I don't know how you're sincere and goofy at the same time, but this record is definitely those things.
I think it's actually a lot to do with their tastes. Like,
yeah,
I read that article by Fred Weaver.
Is that the tour article?
Yeah.
I've read that a long time ago, and then I kind of prepping for this, I read some of it this morning, and it's like, man, it's painful. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, oddly enough, that whole article, which covers that last tour of theirs, like day by day, I couldn't use any of it. I was just like, there's nothing here to talk about. Like, it's just a painful, like, and it's just so long. I can't believe I actually got through the whole thing. But
oh, you did get through the whole thing. That's impressive. Oh, my apologies. That's impressive.
I had to scour to see, hey, what can I talk about here that's relevant. But one of the things being is that Damon Che, let's just talk about him specifically. I'm sure the other guys in the band, Eric M and Ian Williams at the time, like all musicians, we have these huge backgrounds of music that influence what we end up doing, right?
Yeah,
kind of like what we're talking about today. He would probably be a great person to pick at his brain to find out what were those influences that helped kind of create these songs, because there's one section in that article specifically where Fred Weaver ran into a friend that he ended up like borrowing like this 3-disc disco CD set. And I can't recall the name of the song now, but there was one song that Damon Che really liked, and he actually kind of put it on a tape, but just one song out of the 3 discs.
Yeah.
And he would just like play it like incessantly.
Okay, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just like obsessing about this disco song,
Yeah. I like that a lot. I had not heard that part, but that like totally makes sense. Right. And there's a lot, and the part that I'm talking about in this song is actually kind of that. It's kind of this disco, this thing that's very like outside of their realm of music. It's them playing, so it sounds like Don Caballero, but it does sound like Damon Che said, I'm forcibly going to put this disco song, I'm going to glean what I can from this song and put it in there. Some other disco song, but something.
Right. Yeah. But just a little portion of it too. It's like, because that's the beauty of like, I think what is one of the kind of like admirable and drawing aspects of this music is that there are so many different like kind of little bits of music that they kind of all mash together to make one song.
Yeah, totally. One long song.
Right. Yeah. This album in particular, I mean, I guess these the songs are very, very long, and I guess kind of discussing their entire catalog, this is probably this album that has the longest songs.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot after Ian Williams left, they definitely got more into 3.5 minute, A B C A B kind of traditional songwriting songs.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I also appreciate. I mean, I really appreciate both sides of what they do, I guess. The two sides.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you're clearly a fan, and I have to dig into it and just kind of like explore more of the albums. I've been meaning to, but I just haven't had enough time to really sit down with them. So I will do that in the not too distant future. Speaking of shorter songs, the next one, You Drink a Lot of Coffee for a Teenager, is a short one.
It is.
It's probably the shortest one on this album.
And how long is that song?
2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yeah, that's like the pop song on the record. Yeah. The single. Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting when you don't have singles, you know, to you don't really need a 2.5 minute song.
Yeah. I mean, who knows why that ended up that way, and who knows why it's named what it's named. But what was your teen life like? You told me a little bit about your teen life.
Oh, it was pretty. It's like both sides, like exactly what you would think is like someone in the middle of Colorado, and then also like very traumatic and interesting, like everyone else who you think is just living a normal life. So it was so we're in Colorado Springs, started playing guitar, got pretty into guitar actually, and this is again divorced parents, but we don't have to get too deep into that if we don't want to. And I actually ended up like starting a band in the 6th grade. Shouldn't have, had no right to start a band. Played
come on,
an original song. There is a video of this somewhere. Someone has it. 6th grade talent show. And then the band was called Grace's Warehouse. You guys can so it's copyrighted. No one can steal it now.
Right.
We had one song and then played I don't know. I've been thinking about this recently, but like I would just go and like ask teachers or administrators and be like, hey, is there a band playing the yearbook signing? And they would be like, that's not a thing that happens. What do you is there a band? No. And I said, well, I'm in a band. Can we play it? And I think they're just like so much like, what the fuck are you talking about, child?
Right.
And the answer was yes. So we ended up doing like playing at the pizza place down the street and just like playing shows of some original songs and some like half-assed Weezer covers. And
yeah,
I'm trying to think of what else we even covered.
When you were in the 6th grade, you were doing this?
6th, 7th in middle school. Yeah. So it started in 6th grade though. Yeah.
Wow. That's
and again,
great.
this is like a borrowed Squire Strat through a PA system.
Sure.
Like there is, again, I'm not trying to be humble when I say like I had no right doing it. Like it really was. It was probably
great learning experience. Great learning experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now
that carries now into your current musical career.
Oh no, because like then anxiety happens, then you have like some sort of crippling like, I can't promote myself. I can't promote this. I'll make it, but I can't promote it. And yeah. And
really?
So yeah, very much so. I think everyone in this project is kind of has difficulty promoting themselves, which is maybe why we're all in a project together. So
yeah,
little group encouragement. You know, no one's out there sticking up. Well, I mean, we do. We also don't play that many shows like we used to, because it's distant. But after middle school, I got into high school, started a band with my brother. Kind of the same thing. We played a couple shows in freshman year. We played like the big venue in Colorado Springs called 32 Blue my freshman year, because I called the headliner's band from my parents' landline to, I would imagine, his landline, and just said, can we play your show? And he was kind of like, I was 14, you know, like really, like, okay. And it said yes, which is kind of weird in retrospect.
Yeah. He didn't know who you were.
No, not at all. But at this time we had recorded in our like little high school, had like a little studio. They taught a class.
Sure.
So we recorded a demo that was online.
Okay. So you could send him the demo and he actually listened to it. It was just like, yeah, sure, I'll give you the show. Yep.
It was really weird, really interesting time. So that was and then my brother went off to college, and so I started playing. This is kind of when got more into Don Caballero and kind of like, you know, music that still resonates. It all does, but is more relevant to me still. And ended up touring a bit in high school with those bands and playing like probably, you know, 20, 30, 40 shows a year. And all throughout high school. And then left high school early to also tour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I graduated, but I graduated, or I think I actually have no idea, but I think I had enough credits and I stopped going. I don't know if there's a piece of paper anywhere, but
you skated by. That's all that matters. You made it through.
Skated by. Yeah.
You're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. And that was all in like a math rock band that was very heavily inspired by Don Caballero.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to jump around because of what you said.
Yeah.
There's no need for me to jump through this record, in chronological order. So
Sure.
let's jump to "I Never Liked You."
Uh-huh.
Um, so like we were talking about before, I can only imagine that this title may have come from something Damon Che was told.
Yeah. Sure. Yes, I can understand that. Yeah.
Have you ever met him?
No desire.
Oh, no, I mean, you would decline the offer, be like, no, I don't want to talk to that guy.
I would maybe decline the offer. It just is so grating, you know. He's just so. What would I even say? And he'd be like, "Yeah, I know, I don't care." So
yeah. But what if it were just in passing, being like, "Oh, hey, hi, nice to meet you. I just wanted you to know I've been a longtime fan."
Yeah, I probably would because I'm human. You know what I mean? I can
Right.
sit here 1,000 miles away and say, "Yeah, he's such a prick. I wouldn't even want to fill his head." Blah blah blah. But I mean, reality is like he's been massively important. So yes, given the opportunity, I would love to say I have loved your band and appreciate your art.
Right. Right. But you wouldn't say like, "Hey, you want to come sit in on my record?"
I mean, if that option, I mean, yeah, I would say that too. I guess I'm gonna completely backtrack and say, yeah, I definitely would do that. I would rather collaborate with him than have a conversation. You know,
Yeah.
I would rather just like talk only on that kind of musical
Professional level
vocab. Yeah, just like, what do you think of this? Let's do. I think I could do that. I could because I could handle him being an asshole about that.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I would actually appreciate him being an asshole about that.
Right. Right. You know, actually, I think he is taking work.
Like drum lessons?
No, like if you wanted to hire him as a studio musician, like a studio session, and have him like track something with you, you probably could. I mean, you'd pay him. I don't know how much he would ask, but it's possible.
I don't know. It seems terrifying, but I actually, I'll go off a little bit here, but do you know who Victor Villarreal is from Cap and Jazz and Owls and
I know Cap and Jazz, but I don't know that player specifically.
He's the guitar player in Cap and Jazz. Super unique style. I idolized him in the same time. Just kind of a very unique, similar to Don Caballero, noodly style.
Sure. Yeah.
And he just kind of the same thing, said, "Hey, I'm teaching guitar lessons." And I like DM'd him and got to the point where I was like, he's like, "Okay, this is what my schedule." And I totally chickened out for that kind of that, like, I can't do this. Like, it's just so surreal, you know, like I don't, so I'm such a fan. I would have a hard time. I don't know. I chickened out.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think you don't think you could now even, or actually?
Oh, no, this is like this week.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
yeah. No, like in the last month, this has been happening. I actually owe him a DM back. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I mean, and did you take lessons?
I think like a lot similar story to a lot of people. I did to kind of get the basics, but I also never this is like not a pompous thing. This is just the reality. I never really gave a shit about learning other people's songs.
Sure.
So I wanted like enough structure that I could go and do my own thing. And I, to this day, haven't found like that structure in a teacher. And maybe it doesn't exist, you know. You don't learn to write by not reading books. It makes sense why that doesn't exist, but so short answer, a little bit, and then kind of self-taught from there on out.
Yeah. You don't feel like you missed out on something?
Oh, I do not. To this day, I do not know how to play a song on guitar.
But you write on guitar.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everything's on guitar. Yeah. But I just don't know. Like, I know, like, again, like I know these, I swear to God, I know like the 3 Weezer songs we covered in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Sure.
As good as we did in the 6th grade. And that is it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So
you don't aspire? You don't like sometimes like look up tabs and just be like, oh, let me learn how to play the song?
I don't know. I just like don't have it in me for some reason. I don't know.
Cool. Right.
I will if my wife's a great singer, and sometimes she's like, I want to play this country song because she likes country standards a lot. I will learn those, but those you can just like look at and play.
Yeah. I mean,
they're not memorized.
No, no.
Yeah.
If you know normal chord structure, most
Yeah.
likely you can figure those out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So those ones. Yeah. Is that do you not hear that? That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird, right? I don't know.
Do I not hear that? Hear what?
Most people know how to play other people's songs. I'm super self-conscious about it. Will you work me through it?
I don't play covers. I don't know how to really kind of.
Okay.
I think kind of like, I mean, I've definitely looked up tabs and like have tried to play covers, not publicly, just for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes you just hear a song and you're like, God, that just resonates so much. And then I was thinking like, well, would it help me kind of like write if I knew how to play, like if I the way I play guitar is just like I just put my fingers on the guitar somewhere and whatever sounds good, that's what I'm playing. I don't know what chord that is. I have no idea what chord that is.
Right.
Um, and then I can stick some of those fingerings together and make a song out of it. So if you learn covers, you're like, you essentially have to learn some chords
Hmm.
by name, and then maybe it puts your fingering in a different position that you might not have thought of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's
No,
that's
totally.
kind of what I learned from learning songs. And I don't know if I've necessarily ever like applied that to writing. I think I still just kind of put the fingers wherever they feel good and then
Yeah.
whatever sounds right and just keep on going from there.
Yeah. But you have a point of reference now for some new stuff, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was one time I consciously was like, I learned a cover. I learned how to play Blackbird by the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
So now those are weird chords too. Those are weird, very kind of like open tuning type of fingerings, and it actually kind of suits me to what I do because I'm just like, yeah, this is just like this Frankenstein fucking fingering going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so then I wrote a song based on some of those chords. Like I took some of the chords, was just like, okay, well, what if I put my fingers here instead of there and see how that feels, maybe change the tempo a little bit. And I was just like, oh, now I have this new riff that is, Blackbird-esque,
Yeah.
but it's not Blackbird.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I just imagine some people do that. As a matter of fact, Rivers Cuomo probably does that.
Oh, I'm sure. I know he is like an Arsenal because he was in an Ingwe Malmsteen cover band.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I'm sure like an Arsenal, yeah, knowledge.
Right, right. But I
Yeah.
think I can't remember. It was one of those. It could have been when I was talking to Dave doing the research, that I think I came across something where he says that he does that. Like he writes songs based on like the chord structures of other pop songs. But then I think he just changes them. He just kind of morphs them a
Yeah.
little bit and is just like, okay, now I have a new song.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that I do the same like subconsciously or consciously do the same thing
Right. Right.
with less reference. It would be helpful if yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, but if it works for you, it works for you. And obviously you're doing just fine as you are. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe one day you might think about trying that. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Whatever you want,
Well,
man. Hey.
well, and also this Victor Villarreal guitar lesson thing. That's that he was like, what I do is teach you my songs.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and but I think he's probably the same. I don't think he plays. He's like a really, really unique guitar player, and that's maybe all he knows how to play. So,
Right. Maybe.
and yeah, and it's actually more of a time constraint than anything, to be honest. So maybe I'll go down that road and send you an email and let you know how it goes.
Okay.
I might learn a song this year.
By Cap and Jazz, no less, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. By Cap and Jazz. Yeah, by Cap and Jazz. Yeah.
That's cool. So let's see, going back a slot, let's go to Ones All Over the Place. It probably wasn't planned, but it seems a fitting title to describe NECKBOLT.
Oh, yes. Yes. We're all over the place.
You are.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that's fitting?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What do you think is like of the band now? It's a 5-piece, correct? Now, right?
It's actually so we recorded this record as a 5-piece and we just had so much shit on it that we actually just expanded to 6 people.
Oh, okay.
to cover some of there's a lot of auxiliary percussion and samples and stuff like that on this record that when we played it live for South by, we kind of took it out for the first time, and we were like, this we like it sounds good, but it sounds a little different, you know, as a band versus the record. So we definitely have filled in that hole. So it's a 6-piece now.
Okay. And so what do you think, like spanning all the members of the band, I mean, what do you think the backgrounds are?
Well, that's an awesome question, and I think that like there's a lot of intention when we put it together, which has kind of been a really unique advantage to this project for us.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like, oh, this guy plays guitar and he's in a band and he's a little bit. It was really like no one had a job because pandemic, and we all kind of be like, does this fit your world? This thing, this really weird thing that we're going to try to do, does this fit? Do you want to be the like Bill, the bass player, he's just like the best sounding musician I've ever heard. If he plugs in a guitar or bass or whatever, twists 3 things, it's the best that thing's ever sounded. Also a monster musician, great musician, but he has that on lock. That's kind of he's like the tone person and kind of the sound person. He mixes the record last because he has the biggest ears. That's why I like to, someone actually described him as like, he just has really big ears. So that's like a component of our togetherness that doesn't fit. And then the 2 Oklahoma people we had just met on tour, like they were touring through Colorado, and we had heard of each other's bands because we were in the same kind of scene community, you know, in different states. Sure. And it's a pretty common thing when like DIY tour, just the second half of their tour just fell to shit, and they just kind of ended up living with us for a week or maybe 4 days or whatever. And
sure,
we've been kind of totally inseparable since. And again, when we started this project and kind of pitched to them, like, do you guys want to, you know, come down every month and play a show and do this digital thing? And everyone had the right equipment to do it and had enough time, and that all made sense too. And then James, who kind of is like who did the first record with me, or I did the first record with him, or however you want to say it. He's really the loose cannon, the singer, the vocalist. Yeah. And he's just he's a yes man, a yes person. So he's just down to go with, like, actually, right. I'm going to close my laptop when we're done talking, and I'm going to drive to his house, and we're shooting a music video for our last single. And he's just like, it's just all him. He's just like, he's an artist. He's a wonderful artist. And he just is a fire hose of ideas.
Right. Does he do all the art for the band?
Yeah, he does all the art for the band.
Yeah, because I saw that you guys are selling the special hand painted editions of your new record.
Yeah. And he did all those too. Actually, the normal cover is hand painted too. We just had to choose one to print, you know.
But then that was printed. It's his artwork, but it's, you know, it's printed. But whereas you have an actually limited edition, like, I don't know how many you're doing exactly, but I mean, where he actually will paint the actual cover for that record.
Yeah, it's 50 or 100. I think it's 50. Okay. But yeah, he is hand painting all. They're done, and it's a crazy room to see them all in there. But he's a prolific human being. Like I said, a fire. I mean, and this is like a tenth of what he does. It's our band. Yeah. So visual, audio, and puts out zines. There'll be a zine to go with this record too, and he does all the shirts and the last record. And yeah, he just
nice.
He moves forward quickly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love artists that are just kind of like just incessant about making stuff. Is constantly making. It's great.
Yes. It's good. And our Google Drive keeps him in line. It's okay. There's structure. We've structured it. So that's good.
You've been able to cage him, huh? Yeah,
yeah, a little bit, at least for this project. Yeah.
All right. Let's keep on moving. How about details on how to get Iceman on your license plate? All right. I got a long thing for this one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's see how much sense it makes. Okay, once again, Don Cab begins in typical Don Cab fashion, with guitars plinking and plonking their way through excellent drum and bass interplay. After a minute of standard Don Cab fare, they lay their souls out for us with some of the most heartfelt riffs they've ever written. In spite of, or perhaps because of, the lack of lyrics in the song, Iceman seems to relate to us on a much more important level than most other music. Don Cab's instruments reach deep inside and communicate on the most basic of levels, progressing from life-affirming to despondent, sorrowful to swirling. Loveless-esque beauty, Iceman is the height of the album and one of modern music's best moments. That was a member review from SputnikMusic.com. So I have to ask you, can you tell me if you are conscious of the way your music may land with people, and is overwhelming emotion something you strive for?
It's a heavy question. That's a good question. That was also a great review of that song. Yes, I think overwhelming emotion is definitely what... That was the question, right? Overwhelming
Yes.
emotion, is that the word? Yeah, I think short answer for sure, yes. And that can be, I think, where we're all at, that can be disdain, for sure. There can be... It's okay to clear a room, as long as it's people... You know, I think that's an overwhelming emotion that I think all of us are actually completely, in some ways, maybe like Damon Shea, smugly proud of.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of inaccessibility. But if you get in, then I hope that it flips the other way. You know, I hope that it can be it can be effective if you enjoy it. But I mean, have you listened to the new NECKBOLT record?
Yeah,
it's thorny. It's a little inaccessible. But I think
I'm a noise rock fan, so I mean, I think it can make sense in my brain.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of like kind of the poppy aspect.
Yeah.
Like the songs certainly have hooks. They certainly have structure. It's psychedelic garage rock, right? So I mean, like, there is a little bit of prickliness to it, but I like prickliness, you know?
Yeah, right.
I
right.
like
too,
music that'll make me think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if you can get past that, the first set of overwhelming emotion, then yeah, I think this music is definitely meant to do that in its hidden poppiness. Yeah.
Right.
I think we want people to bob their head and not know why they're bobbing their head, you know?
Yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, it's kind of the one of the first things I realized about noise rock music when I first got turned on to it was this, like, one of the first bands I ever heard was Erebon Radar. And immediately upon hearing them, I was just like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like,
and why do I like it?
Right,
if you liked it, yeah.
But then I was just like, then actually kind of like being at shows and like hearing them, I was just like, oh, I feel the rhythm. I feel how this is like, you know, it can be as enjoyable as disco music. Like, as far as like, if you wanted to dance, like, you can dance to this. Like, as weird and angular as it feels, and as like kind of like jarring as the sounds are, there's still rhythm. There's still very, very good tight rhythm here. Yeah. And you can get into it very easily.
Yeah. That's the goal, you know, and they are a wonderful example of that. Erebon Radar.
Yeah.
And they're from up there, right?
Yeah.
I never got to see that band. I love that band.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, they were fairly short-lived, especially your age range. I mean, you know, they did that reunion tour. Unfortunately, that did not, you know, go as they had hoped, I don't think.
Okay. Understood. Yes.
The tour ended before they could finish the dates.
Really? Because people weren't coming?
No, because they were doing great. It's the same reason why the band broke up.
Oh, okay. Understood. Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I love those guys. I know all of them. They're great.
Okay. They're doing Psychic Graveyard now too, right? They have another project, or some of them?
That's just Eric Paul that's doing Psychic Graveyard. Steve Mattos, the guitarist, one of the guitarists, he has a solo project, Chrome Jackson.
Okay.
And he just created a new band called There.
And spelling
THERE.
Okay.
And there's a lot of theirs out there, so you have to look up Their Providence, and you'll find them. They have some recordings out. It's like really like out there noise stuff, and no, it's not instrumental actually, but it's mostly instrumental. It's very what's the word for it? Improvised.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Very, very improvisational. And as a matter of fact, Brent Frattini, formerly of Daughters, is in that band now. Pat Crump, the drummer that was with Steve for Athletic Automaton, when Erebon Radar broke up. There was
Yeah.
their duo. He's on drums, and Josh Kemp, who was he has a great band. He used to have this great band called Mahi Mahi, but maybe most notable, he was the replacement bassist for Chinese Stars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of
That's
like a
awesome.
super group here in the city. They're amazing.
Okay. Well, it's on my notes.
Okay, yeah, look them up. Let's see. We should probably keep on moving with this thing. A lot of people tell me I have a fake British accent. We were talking about your music and kind of like the emotional aspect of it, and kind of like how you feel like it lands with people. What do you think people tell you the most about NECKBOLT?
That's a really good question. We hear a lot. This is like a thing that I understand we hear, but we hear a lot the word psychedelic thrown around. And I think it's mostly none of really, that's like the genre. I guess what I should say is that's the genre of music that none of us are really invested in. I like
Really?
some psychedelic music, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm mostly listen to like noisier stuff. And I think it's just because of our choice of effects that we like. We like delay a lot and a lot of like swirling kind of crescendos, and it's just a product of the like noise making shit that we like more so than an influence of our music. But we hear that word thrown around a lot. That one always I'm like, yeah, I mean it is like I get it. If I take a step back, it's psychedelic, totally. But it's
Right.
that one's like the unintended word that we hear a lot.
Right. I mean, in your currently the band is currently based out of Psychedelia Ground Zero with the third floor, the 13th floor elevators, right?
Yeah, right. And Black Angels, and yeah, there's a huge psychedelic scene here,
Right.
which is awesome. And it's funny because yeah, we haven't tapped that at all.
Really?
We're in noise rock. Yeah, that's the little bubble that we're in. And leaving here, I have some ideas. I haven't even thought to like, wait, why aren't we at there's a bar here called 13th Floor that does all the psychedelic stuff, and we have never played there.
I think I was there.
It's moved since you've been here, but you probably went there. It was like a little tiny bar in October when you were here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I went to go see Thor Harris and friends play during Levitation.
I'm sure that's where it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if that's where it was. That
Yeah,
makes total sense.
it has like
Yeah.
a shrine to the 13th floor elevators a little bit,
Yep.
like a little one.
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
They actually bought a or at least whatever, moved into a pretty historic, cool venue.
Oh, okay.
So they expanded quite a bit.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a great psychedelic scene here that we've completely untapped. Wow,
Wow, that's weird.
And outside of that, I think I'm actually kind of proud of this, but I think people kind of have a hard time putting their finger on it because like we were talking about before, there's some catchiness to it, but it's so out there that it's hard to say like, yeah, I like it because X, Y, or Z. And I think most people, I think I kind of repeated what he said, but Dan Golden from like Exploding in Sound and Post Trash, who's a New York person and is really nice to us and has done a lot of nice reviews and always invites us to play like the South by events that they put on. He, after the last South by, said, man, I like your band because I bob my head and I don't know why. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. That's that one felt good. And then we were playing in Oklahoma a couple weeks ago, and someone came up to Bill, our bass player, and said that we sounded like Captain Beefheart and Primus, which for him was just like earth shattering. He made it. That's all he's ever wanted to hear in his whole fucking life is
That's so
he's in a
specific.
band that's tricked someone into liking Primus, and yeah, so he loves Primus. But yeah, so it's really all over the place, which I really appreciate because
Right.
I played in bands too where it's not all over the place, and you might even hear it more. You might hear your band is great because of X, but it's more repetitive. And I actually appreciate that this project is kind of like, oh, holy shit, that's what you think? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't even think that.
Follow-up question to that then. What do you like? Where do you write music from? Like, how do you write music?
It is something I've talked to a lot of people about a lot, and it is like a necessity.
Yeah, but I mean,
And
like, why do you write the songs you write? I mean, like, is it just that is that just how it comes out of you? Like I was saying, like, I just put my fingers on the neck somewhere and whatever sounds right, that's just it.
yeah, for sure. That's that for this project, 100%.
Hmm.
And I've been in, like metal or black metal bands and stuff where it's like, oh, you want to write a part that is like powerful, pungent, brutal, whatever. I mean, all these words. And mostly for this, though, it's kind of like just what comes out.
Okay.
I would argue for some of the other songwriter or writers in this project, they might have a better definition. Like the bass gets, there might be more intention behind the other people, but for the
Yeah.
structure of the songs, it's probably similar to this Don Cab record, where it's a lot of like, I know when we go to write a record that we want 5 or 6 groovers. We want 5 or 6 things that are just like, yeah, this is in the pocket. I feel it.
Yeah.
And we want 2 or 3 things that are going to be way the fuck out there, that people are going to like, what is going on here? And then kind of like this one has like a slower song, this record, where there's actually like harmonies on it. And so I think I have like a loose structure of what I think a record should sound like.
Hmm.
And then it comes out of, sitting down and picking up a guitar and kind of turning on a click track. Everything's to a click because we send everything back. That's usually, I mean, really how these songs start is that sitting down at this desk to a click, grab a guitar. There's a couple around,
Right.
have an amp mic'd or DI or whatever, and just kind of start noodling and looping those noodles and seeing if anything comes out, and then putting a bass on top of it. And then I think once that first kind of, are we a happy noodle, a sad noodle, a jarring noodle comes out, then the next part is like, it kind of builds off of that.
Yeah. The dancing noodle.
A dancey noodle. Yeah, there's a couple dancey noodles. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can hear too that it's relatively pop structured, most of it. So once you get that first noodle, you know where you're going.
Right. So I guess essentially like the psychedelic aspect of your band maybe is just gear driven.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're all pretty we all like gear a lot. I mean, everyone likes gear a lot. So there's a lot of that on the record. We are very fortunate that Kylan, our Oklahoma City guitar player, works at a guitar pedal company called Old Blood Noise, and they have a I mean, it's an insane room that is just full of, it's their research and development room, but it's hundreds of guitars, tens, dozens of guitars, hundreds of pedals. I mean, everything you've ever thought of ever.
It's a toy
and
factory.
Drums and it's a toy factory, and we are lucky enough to have access to the toy factory.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like really, it's really a nice thing.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God, you have like so much stuff to work with now. That's probably going to influence whatever you end up doing in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And exactly.
Yeah. Damn it. That's cool, man.
Damn it is the only right response. Yeah.
All right, let's close this out with the last song. Let's face it, pal. Let's face it, pal. You didn't need that eye surgery. All right, so in spirit of keeping things fun, Damon Che has said about his drumming technique that he plays his snare at an odd angle and very low, with club-like sticks flipped around and played with the opposite ends for a very strong accentuated rim shot. Do you have any odd left of center techniques in your playing?
When I recorded drums on the first record, I flipped the sticks around to play a very thunderous rim shot because it's what David Che does.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I'm a shit drummer, so it doesn't really, like it. But I know that he does that, and I wanted to do that for that record. So
really,
so that one I just absolutely stole that from him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Left of center on guitar, I found myself now super reliant on like tremolo arm. You know, like a jazz master tremolo arm.
Yeah.
Like it's another band I never really got into, Sonic Youth. But
me neither.
Why? I don't know why. I just like, I love people that love them. I don't know,
Yeah.
Their secondary influences are big influences for me. But
okay.
I know that like there's some more really leans, like kind of essentially just holds it, or My Bloody Valentine. What, I can't think of his name, but same kind of hold the trem arm while you play.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing I was like, I want to get good at that. That sounds cool as hell. And now it's kind of a crutch. Now I'll always holding I live in the trem arm.
Yeah,
So nothing's
it's
ever in
always in your
tune.
hand.
It's amorphous. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not really left of center if other people do that, but
I don't know how many other people do it really. I mean,
yeah,
I know what it means. I know what it does.
yeah,
It's interesting for sure. I mean, it all depends on how it works with the music. Obviously, it works with your music very well.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, but I would say to answer that, I think just the actual organizational structure of our band is probably the most left of center thing creatively that I
Yeah.
do, or that any of us people do.
Yeah,
Just
I would say
and
so. It definitely is strange. I mean, uh, maybe because of living in today's living with today's technology, maybe it's more likely that some bands will do that.
yeah,
They don't feel the need to necessarily be in the same room, and you hear about a lot of projects now where there's a lot of file sharing going on, and so everyone kind of has like their own ability to take their time and kind of create whatever they want to create over something,
yeah,
as opposed to kind of being in the room and arguing, being like, can you try to do this, can you try to do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
We'll be in a room and argue. I think that we'll experiment with the next one on trying to write together a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's an expensive band practice. Someone has to
Oh yeah.
stay some, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, so
Right. Yeah. And this problem with being out of state.
yeah. Yeah. But
Huh.
it's, again, it's not that, it's a 1 day drive, 6 hour drive.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Well, I mean, if you're doing shows too, I mean, so if you have like a small tour book, let's just say, I mean, obviously you're going to get together the first day, maybe 2 days in advance. So that's kind of like an opportunity to actually be in the room together and work on some stuff, maybe. But I don't know. That's for you guys to figure out, like, how you want to continue
Will you
doing
figure
that.
it out for us? Yeah. I mean, that is exactly what we do. So
Well, I wouldn't want to tell you. It's just like, well, you guys got to write some songs if you're going to be in a room together. I mean, like, work on something while you're here.
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, then you also have to, so because of this reverse engineering, you also have to like figure out what, we all throw, it's a recording band for sure. We all throw whatever we want on a board to make this crazy sound. And then
Mm-hmm.
you get in a room to play a show and it's kind of like, what the fuck is that? So we have to open up the file and reduce it down to just solo that and go like, okay, I can
Wow.
recreate that again.
Right.
So it's like two projects,
Yeah.
there's the left brain, right brain,
I see. Cool.
the
Yeah.
recording and the live, and they're both fun and unique in their own way.
Yeah. No, I mean, it has its aspects. It has its qualities.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, so we're gonna close this out. I have one thing to read for you, that I will ask you a question about. All right. Well, so there's a quote that says, William says one image comes to mind when he tries to describe Damon Che. One day in a nondescript Pittsburgh autumn, Che was driving a beat-up old car. It had been raining, but even though the rain had stopped, Che's windshield wipers were still swiping back and forth furiously. Thwack, thwack, thwack. The heat was blaring out on full blast, and Che was playing an amphetamine reptile style record with the volume on his car stereo turned up so high it was shaking the car and barely distinguishable from roars of white noise. That quote, that was Damon, Williams says, and to him, that was just a normal day. Such raw energy, he was so intense all the time. So NECKBOLT can have a perception of intensity, whether coming from the music or the visual art or performance. How much do you feel you personally contribute to that?
It's funny. The first thing that came to mind was little to none. But I do think that I am kind of a big part of the blank canvas that ends up being that.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean, from what I've learned, I mean, you're such a central figure to the actual music.
yeah,
Now, the visuals, maybe it's a different thing. Maybe James Rue has more of a
right.
hand in the visual aspect of the band.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. James is singularly the visual representative for the band, for sure.
Okay.
and so that is James, and sonically I'm just like I said, like the blank canvas, not so blank canvas, but I would say we all kind of are just a platform for him to be the energetic one, you know.
Yeah. Do you think maybe this perception I'm speaking about, at least from my own, I mean, speaking for myself, I would say that NECKBOLT seems a little chaotic, a little bit intense. Do you think that is mostly James then?
I think so. I think we try to give him like a platform for that. I think we try to be chaotic enough that he can take it to the next level, but still have like a playing field that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I'm trying to, again, get you to bob your head in a way that you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then have James just be the icing on that cake.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I mean, if you listen to these records without vocals, would they still be chaotic? Fucking yes, they would be. But I think that takes it over the finish line. So
yeah,
we're not full chaos. Me and sure. the instrument, the string and drum people, we're just here to let James go full chaos.
Okay.
And live, it's for sure people playing Stratocasters with guitars and two pedals and being relatively baseline, just playing guitar, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have not seen you guys play live yet. I hope to at some point. Do you have any touring plans in the future?
We do. We are touring the Midwest this fall, and then I'm sure we will do something early next year. So we're up to Chicago and back this fall, and then we want to do East Coast really bad, and we want to do West Coast really bad, and East Coast is a lot easier. So I think that will come first.
Sure. This area specifically, I can attest, because of my location, is great for reaching out and kind of like hitting a number of spots within a very small commute time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's the dreamland of touring. Yeah. It's almost Europe. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, within 3 hours of me, I mean, you can hit Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts.
Oh, probably not within 3 hours. Philly's what,
not
6 hours?
Yeah. It's not that far, but if it's like, as far as home base is concerned, like kind of coming back to this point, and so not having to necessarily, spring for hotel rooms every night of the week.
Yeah. So we can live on your couch and shoot out this upcoming tour is like 2 weeks, and the average drive is 6 hours.
Yeah.
Which means there's some that are 10 and some that are 4. It's just the middle of the country. There's a reason. Yeah.
Texas alone, is very huge. And so just to get to your neighbor from there, from where you are, takes a while. Yes.
But we, because of this and I don't want to go into overtime here, but because of our kind of mobile setup, no one gives a shit about gear or what they bring. It's all pretty mobile. We really, for early next year, are talking about some fly-in gigs or fly-in tours. Sure. Because it's just so much fly into New York and go do 2 weeks that way rather than leave Texas. So it'll happen.
Okay, that sounds great, man. I really look forward to it. By all means, keep me in the loop. Congratulations on the new record. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that anyone needs to know about NECKBOLT and the new record as of right now?
Not anything that's not all over the internet. Dream Dump comes out September 22nd on Born Yesterday Records out of Chicago. Great record label. Everything on that record label is awesome. New Landowner is awesome. I love it. Stuck. I love that record label very much. We're very happy to be working with them. And we, like James was saying, have some amount of hand created records left. They're going to sell out though, so if you want one of those, I would buy them before the record comes out.
Okay.
And our Instagram is neckbolt.xyz. Our website is neckbolt.xyz, and everything is there because it's the internet.
Right. Perfect.
Cool. All right.
Ben, it's such nice talking with you. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, James, and it's very nice talking to you, and hopefully we'll be in touch.
Vinyl and Vision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robbin of 123 Astronaut.